divested of its character as a legal obligation during the operation of the discharge. Something of the original vitality of the debt continues to exist, which may be transferred, even though the transferee takes it subject to its disability incident to the discharge. So, what they're saying, if you discharge a debt, it doesn't necessarily go away. That debt is still can be collected on. They can pass it on, they can assign it to someone else. So you don't want to do discharge. It's basically what this is saying. You want to be able to extinguish the debt completely, where they're not coming back from to you for it. And the only way to do it is to organize your estate properly, and we're going to show you the steps of what you need to do. All right. The fact that it carries something which may be a consideration for a new promise to pay, so as to make an otherwise worthless promise a legal obligation, makes it the subject of transfer by assignment. This is why when people are trying to discharge, they'll ignore you and still collect. And I could tell you this has been my experience. Now, this is something I did to a car I had purchased. I had a note on some years ago when I was trying to play around with different methods of discharge. I went in on the account electronically, figured out what my account number through my Social Security was, put in those numbers, and paid the debt in full. It lasted for 2 weeks and it came back. But here's the interesting thing about it. When it came back, it never hit my credit report again. Although they kept calling me for the money and wanted the money and threatened to take the car if I didn't make the payments. That car to this day is not showing that I paid off that car or did anything. And reading this definition helps me understand why. I did not extinguish the debt. I discharged it, but I didn't get the obligation off of me. So therefore, we got this payment by way of discharge through the Social Security number, but hey, this guy don't know what he's doing. We're going to still hang him up and get the money anyway. This is why if any of you have ever done discharge the other ways where you make the money or as a minimum, they'll keep that money order, never send it back, but still want you to keep the money. Can anybody on here agree with what I just said? Have that same experience? I know there's a couple of people on here, at least 2 people on here have had that experience. Right? And they'll act like they don't even say that they received a bad check. They just ignore it. Am I right or wrong?
True.
Right. So that means there's something to that process. It's just not complete. It's something missing that you don't know, and they know you don't know. So they'll just come back because, of course, they're not going to want the whole public to become aware. If everybody was able to just write these money orders and send it to these people, it would shut their whole system down. So they like discharge. They love it when people get on the internet and claim you can discharge because they're getting free money. They're making millions of dollars every year off of people sending in these instruments and then ignore them. You never hear from them again. I've come to maybe say, I need the link. Yes, sir. It was a long webinar because we had to take a break. Al had to. All right, it's October the 4th. We're talking about the IRS webinar. This is enhanced or upgrade. Things that are seen come from the things that are unseen, meaning specifically, everything you're experiencing in your life right now is based off an idea you had previous. So stop thinking about them people. Think about something else. Something more pleasant. But I mean, it's good you got on the webinar, and now you'll have the tools just in case something happens. Because if they do come at you, All you got to do is hit them with this letter that I got right here. Let me share the screen. Let's share the screen. This is the new tax dispute letter. It's the affidavit and notice of dispute and alleged tax liability of alleged tax returns. So here it is. And if you notice, this one is claiming American Indian national status, which falls in line with the webinar that I just taught last week on claiming your indigenous status on your passport. I know Dax, you wasn't part of that, and you weren't part of it. I don't believe, sir. Mr. Brown. Wait, Maze, you were there, right? Yeah, you were there.
I got it years ago, so I got it on my passport.
No. This was the new one. I just did a new one last week.
Oh no,
I thought it was the same one.
No,
I thought it was the same.
Not the same.
Yeah, I thought it was the same
My
too.
bad.
No,
Yeah,
same.
So we need.
I support everything. I thought it was the same one. That's why I ain't do it.
No, this one is teaching you how to use your own documents to get the passport instead of their birth certificate and social security number. So, long and short of it, using all the county deeds I told you how to make in order to get your status corrected. Peace. Let me check my volume here. Yeah, it looks like it's working. Let me just make sure I got no echo. All right, peace. So, all right. Lost Books of the Bible. Peace. I started late because my brother. First, let me say welcome to everyone who decided to come in late. I appreciate you showing up. I know I usually start at 10, but my brother had a talk he was giving at their congregation this morning at 10. So I wanted to see him give his public, in the Jehovah's Witness faith, the Sunday talk is one of the biggest talks of the week. So if you have that spot to give a talk, that's considered an accomplishment. So I wanted to see him, support him in his accomplishments. So I went by way of Zoom and watched it because they do it on Zoom or you can go in live. But my mom sent me the text like yesterday. Did you want to Zoom? I didn't even know. I would have drove up there and supported them in person. Because usually when they have the Sunday talk, they give a whole dinner for him, at someone's house. I would have supported, but I didn't know until yesterday. So I joined by Zoom. It was a good talk. Proud of him. So I sent him my text, good job, in my Hancock voice. That's like an inside joke for us. But anyway, good job to him. It's always good to see people practicing their faith, whatever that might be. And that's what I say. Whatever your faith is, practice it, live it. That's why I tell you to set up trust. Set up trust in the name of your faith. If you study any of the scriptures, all of the people did things according to their ancestral heritage. And it talks about ancestral all throughout for the book of Kings and saying the ancestral things that they did. It also talked about some other crazy stuff that went down, like they had cannibalism in there, like it was a famine and 2 women made a deal and said, I'm going to cook my son today and you cook yours tomorrow. I'm like, that kind of crazy though, right? Like I guess they were feeding a large family. I don't know. Like you cook a whole baby and it's already gone and you're going to do the next one the next day. Like it's crazy. Y'all don't believe me? Look. I actually bookmarked it so y'all can So when I bring this stuff up, King ain't wilding out. He ain't making nothing up. So it's second book of Kings, chapter 6, verses 27. It says, he said, "No, let the Lord help you. How can I help you? From the threshing floor or from the winepress?" I mean, verse 28, actually. But when the king asked her, "What is your complaint?" she answered, "The woman said to me, 'Give up your son. We will eat him today, and we'll eat my son tomorrow.' So we cooked my son and ate him. The next day I said to her, 'Give up your son, and we will eat him.' But she has hidden her son." When the king heard these words of the woman, he tore his clothes down, since he was walking in the city. It goes on and go on, right? The reason why it was a famine, because an opposing army had surrounded the city and they couldn't get out. So they couldn't get out of the city to trade goods, get things. So they had to live off what was left in the city. And this is what happened. And the reason why they had all this going on, because these kings were worshiping idols and God had cut off his blessings from them. Now, I don't, cannibalism, I don't know. It's a lot. That's why I tell people to read the Bible for yourself. Stop letting people just read snippets of it and then give you the interpretations of those snippets. The Bible is a complete book of different things that happened or supposedly happened in the past, and then you have the New Testament that happened in the past and things. And remember, Christ wasn't a Christian. People label themselves Christian after his teachings, calls them Christ followers. That's where it comes from. The very garments that the Ku Klux Klan wears, the Ku Klux Klan, those hoods and everything, that come from our ancestors who are black or dark skinned, melanated, wearing these hoods. It was called the Order of the Christ. So I don't know if these new age Ku Klux Klan members realize that they're following a black tradition. And most of them, like the Iroquois Confederation's flag, what they use as a Confederate soldier flag. All of this stuff, most of that stuff comes from people of color. The symbol that they attribute to Hitler is a peace symbol from the ancient ones. So a lot of this stuff that we have deemed evil, it just been labeled evil because the people who came after it gave it a different meaning. But as I was perusing the Bible, I remember I have this book. I have this Bible, the Holy Bible, but it's the with the Apocrypha, and it has the different scriptures that they took out. So I came upon the book of Sirach, right? And it has some scriptures in here that relates to fathers. And as you know, in this current climate system of things, men are highly disrespected. Mainly the black man. He's like number one enemy, in this country. Number one feared for no real good reason. A lot of these crazy things that are going on are perpetrated by pale skins. These things that happen in these schools where they go and do things to young people with certain types of weapons. I'm being careful about my words because everything you say they scrutinizing these days. But let me check. What I'm getting at is, although trying to see my chat, although black males are demonized by this system, and our own women, a lot of this current climate of black women, large amount of them, are against their own men that they're giving birth to. I'm not afraid to say that. They giving birth to these black. I was listening to a broadcast, something came across my feed where this woman talking about we need to look at these black men because they're the problem in the neighborhoods. They're the ones committing crimes. They're this and this and that. This is a black woman talking about black men like this. Like black men are the only ones committing crimes in this world. Like these white men didn't come over here and kill off millions of indigenous people here on this land and then go around the world and do it. Go look at the real crime statistics. See, we go off what they show us on TV. You know, they highlight black males doing all of the bad things. They highlight that. So you get programmed to think that's the only one that's doing it. But white males are committing crimes. In your social group, the most likely person that you will have problems with is the people of your same group. Meaning, so what I'm saying is if white people have domestic violence and violent things going, they're more likely to be harmed by people of their group. Because why? That's who they spend most of the time with. Same thing in our group. We're more likely to have issues with people in our group because that's who we largely associate ourselves with. But the issue is we as a people, black people in particular, or what they call black or African American. I only use these terms because this is what a lot of us have accepted as a label. I don't accept it, but I can't speak to you in the real terms of what you are really called, because that'll confuse a lot of people right now. But for the sake of this conversation, the ones we consider black, African American, all these other derogatory terms, because yes, African American is a derogatory term. Black is a derogatory term to refer to our people as. That's number one. That's where we're the problem is right there. What we calling ourselves. Then on top of that, with the demonization through the white power structure of the black male and the black female too. But what has happened in our community is all of the years, decades of demonization of the black male, a good amount of black females have taken on that, have come to adopt that system's perception of black males. And let me tell you why that's the most dysfunctional crap that I've ever seen. You don't see these in other groups. Yes, white males are doing crazy stuff. Asian males are doing crazy stuff in their neighborhoods, but you never see their women go on a campaign and actually go into the streets and proclaim that. They don't own it like that. A lot of black women are owning that image of the black male. They own it. Look, black men, they own it. And whenever you own something and you perpetuate something and you reinforce something in your mind, it keeps it going. You feed it. See, the other groups are not feeding the dysfunction in their communities. And I don't give a damn if some of you black women don't like what I'm saying. Because you are the ones who don't like what I'm saying are the problem. The ones who understand what I'm saying are not the problem. So if you getting triggered by this, that's your problem. Go turn it off. Go somewhere else. Bye. We don't need you here. But I'm calling it what it is and what's going on. By the end of this broadcast, I will balance it out. Trust me. But right now, this is the conversation because our men are supposed to be seen as strength and leadership and protection in our community. And the males I associate with are all that. They take care of their children. They are highly involved in their children's lives. And even studies have shown that the black male is the number one man in this country that participates in the well-being of their children. Yes, despite all of the negative imaging, I have the video on my TikTok. You know how many views that get? Hardly any. Oprah even interviews say, yeah, this study comes out and they all shocked. Why are they shocked? Because the system has done a good job of painting black men as a problem. And then on top of that, their own women have came in because they had problem with the pookie that they picked to sleep with. Because they had one problem with one pookie and decided to have a child with him. Now he's the bad guy. He's the bad guy, and every other man along with him is the bad guy because they had a bad experience with one guy. Never realizing that it was their poor choice in the man that got them where they are. Never wanting to take accountability, and that's the problem. Accountability is a problem. Yes, we have all of these issues, but we have to be accountable to our issues that we're having. We have to be. There are plenty of great black women out there that don't make bad choices like that. See, I'm unbalanced this out in a second. So let me go back to what I'm saying. So they're painted this black man, and that label has been go across the board with us. People, I'm gonna be 56 this month, and people still walk across the street when I see me walking with my dog. I'm walking with a daggone Labrador Retriever, just walking, minding my business, and they want to walk across the street. Why? Because society has painted my skin color as a negative. And I've never harmed anybody like that in my life on the street or even think about doing anything. And that's the thing. Most black men are just trying to survive. Things are hard enough for us. Jobs look over us with promotions. And don't tell me that's not real because I dealt with that. This is why I chose to be employed by myself. No one could overlook me in my business. The reason why I'm even sitting here is because of situations like that I've had on the job. Getting fired from a job, which was the best thing that ever happened to me. I told you I went into that store and thanked that man for firing me, for being a racist. I see sometimes that racism can be your best blessing in your life. But I have to applaud black men because through all of these years, the ones that are men, like my father, my brother, my sons, brothers like Ahmed, my buddy Thomas, and all the other males that I'm not mentioning, Javier, all other ones I'm not mentioning, I haven't forgotten you, or the ones in my group, the people I deal with even in my group, in my membership. Through all of those negative stereotypes, they still continue to support their family. They haven't given up. They have persevered. They have stood the test of time, which makes them great men. Being a great basketball player doesn't make you a great man. Just because you could throw a football doesn't make you a great man. What makes you a great man is that through all of the negative stereotyping and all of the odds that are placed against you, you still don't make excuses and make it work. your family is eating and has a roof over their head, has transportation, has your guidance and protection. No, no one. Although people are expecting you to be perfect, and you're not always able to communicate in a perfect way, but you are perfect because you still stand in the test of the storms, even when your own woman is coming down on you. And what I'm saying is no strange thing. A lot of sisters are on a campaign to destroy the image of a black man because they've had bad experience with black men. They never want to at how can you have multiple baby daddies and all of them be a problem? All of them you don't want to be with. You can't stand. How can you see? This is what they hate when the light is shined on that. The problem with our society of sisters now, they lack one quality, and that's wisdom. And they haven't been taught that. They're following the latest fads of everything. They'll listen to themselves being called bitches and hoes, and they're okay with that. And the reason why they're okay with it, because they pump that music loud in their car and they like it. They love it. They dance to it. And you know what gets into your conscience, especially music, turn this off. It becomes a part of your life. You live it out. What you speaking and thinking, God is not to be mocked. You reap what you sow. If you're sowing negative imagery into your concept and your thinking, that's what you're going to have. And this is what we have. We have negative imagery, and this is what we're reaping in our communities. Now, what has happened? The tables have turned. All those years that they on the media through movies, now social media, that they have demonized the black male. This is why I say you reap what you sow. God is not to be mocked. I'm gonna actually read the scripture to you because I want you to understand. And this is the part that people are not getting. This is the part that everything we're experiencing is a reaping. Everything is a reaping of what we've sowed. I'm telling you, I'm going to balance this message out. Let's find the scripture. Let me go back. They got so many virgins. I think it's Galatians. Let me just get it here. Easy, all this internet stuff. Go back to old school. You know, every time we get on the subject of what our sisters are doing, they always flip it and try to turn the tables back the other way by saying, well, what about men? No, we ain't talking about the men right now. Men got their problems too. Galatians chapter 6. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked, for you reap whatever you sow. If you sow to your own flesh, you will reap corruption from the flesh. But if you sow to the Spirit, you will reap eternal life from the Spirit. So let us not grow weary in doing what is right, for we will reap at harvest times if we do not give up. So then, whenever we have an opportunity, let us work for good of all, and especially for those of the family of faith. So when we're demeaning one over the other, like we, for years, it's one thing for another group of people to make us look bad, but it's another thing for our group of people to reinforce those negative imageries onto us. That is not what we should be doing. We're supposed to be operating within brotherly and sisterly love. Yes, are there people in our community that are not great people, don't do well? And largely the reason why they're not doing well is because of their surroundings, how they're being raised. So we should have grace, because if I guarantee if someone dug into your your closet of skeletons, they'll find a whole lot of things to talk about. That's why we can't go on a campaign and dog one another. And that's what's happening now. The tables are turned now. All those years, brothers are being demonized. Now it's the sisters' turn. Everywhere you turn around, there's a video dogging out the black woman. And I don't support any of that. I will call a spade when I see sisters just coming after the brothers, and I see brothers coming after the sisters. Yes, the sisters got problems and brothers got problems. Why? Because we're growing up in a hostile environment. POWs. We're living in a society where we're educated against our own best interests. Until you see that, then if you don't understand that, then you won't never understand what the true issue is, where the true problem lies. The true problem doesn't lie in one or the other. The true problem lies in we're not working together and we're not looking to uplift each other. We're supposed to look for the good in each other, not the bad. We hear one group of people say, oh yeah, that's right. And you jump on a bandwagon. You don't get it in line with the white power structure and confirm what they're saying. Like this dude that got assassinated. Oh, so many people was, oh, we should have this sympathy. Okay, I mean, it's a bad thing that happened here. But I want to talk about my ancestors that's been hung from trees and burned as barbecues and stuff like that. That's my topic. That's their topic. Go ahead. I mean, that's a bad thing. Well, I got so much going over here. I can't deal with that. It's not my issue. It's not our issue. We have other issues. Our issue is we have allowed this system to divide and conquer us. And yes, conquered, past tense, conquered. And we're still being conquered by our perceptions. Instead of getting financially literate and growing an ecosystem with ourselves like we did in not the so distant past, we had all of that. But we decided to forsake our trades and go into their systems and get reprogrammed and re-educated against each other. Like during this, when we were trying to fight to get on a bus, to ride their buses, when our community, we had ways of getting each other back and forth. All of those things did was separate us from what we already had within ourselves. They made what they had more valuable to us than what we had within our community. We devalued each other, and that is continuing to happen to this day. I see more brothers making videos. They're doing the job of the white power structure. They did it. They started off, we're finishing, making videos demonizing the sisters and vice versa. Is what they're saying true? Yes. But do we need to get millions of people to watch that? Because if you're not talking about a solution, then you are the problem. Because that's all you're doing is talking about the problem. You're not talking about fixing nothing. But look what they did. Look what she doing. Look what he doing. He did this. He's that. Now they're supposed to have a video coming out about Cat Williams and one of his brothers that he supposedly essayed. And it's a sister promoting that. How was this stuff up building our community to know all of these? Yeah, this is, I mean, Cat Williams was in his 50s, almost 60s. Now a brother is coming out on public forum to bring him out. But see, that goes back to what I just read in Galatians. It says, do not be deceived. God is not mocked, for you reap whatever you sow. Cat Williams is only reaping what he sowed. Why do I say that? Because he went around talking about he had one of the biggest viewerships on that Shea Club place, talking about other people. What you think is going to happen if you go on platforms, whether it's the truth or not, and talk about other people? Someone is going to eventually come and talk about you and reap what you sow, whether it's true or not. What you put out, you get back. That's why I try my best not to go in on people, even if I, in my ego, feel like they deserve it. Because when I go that route of putting them down or talking about them, it's only going to come back my way. I feed it. You feed the fire back to you. So if I go on and just talk good about people, talk about the good, what is going to come back to me? Good. Yet not to say that people won't say nothing negative, but it will end right there if I don't respond to it. That's them. And they get that repayment for what they gave out, try to pay me with the gift of a negative word. And the only reason why I'm saying this, because I experienced, y'all know that, a lot of y'all been with me a long time. Y'all know what I went through back in 2019 and how people were demonizing me. And I never struck back. Never struck back. And then eventually it took care of itself. Because through their reaping the negative word against me, the negative word came back to them. These are laws you cannot get around. And if you understand that, your life will be so much more peaceful if you just do not retaliate. Just go about your business, taking care of your family. And back to you, brothers. I applaud all of you brothers who are doing your job, even though people don't appreciate you. Y'all get the worst gifts. Yes, brothers get the worst gifts. We get the worst gifts. Y'all know y'all be giving us some crap gifts. And it ain't like it's a complaint. It's the truth. But let us go out there and give a bad gift. It ain't what you want. We get it. We catch all types of hell. Come on now. I remember I said that and somebody was, oh, you should appreciate it. See, people just want you to appreciate anything they give you. That's what they want. No. You know when people really put the effort in for you and they don't. You know that. And it's okay to call it out. But anyway, so in this book of Sirach, because that's how I saw the lost book, and I'm going to read some scriptures, and it talks, and this is why I was talking about fathers, because I think fathers need to hear this. This is what they took out of the Bible for you guys. It says, listen to me, your father, O children. Act accordingly that you may be kept in safety. So they're talking to the children about their fathers. For the Lord honors a father above his children, and he confirms a mother's right over her children. Those who honor their father atone for sins, and those who respect their mother are like those who lay up treasure. Those who honor their father will have joy in their own children. So you must honor your father. This is one of the things I talk to my brothers about. Listen, pops ain't always right, but you still must honor him and respect him. And I tell daughters, women who have father problems with their father, I'm not here to say he's bad or good. That's still your father. You honor him. Because it's a universal God-made law. You don't have to be, all chummy, but you must have a respect. Because simply without him, you wouldn't even be here. Children don't get here by just the mother. They get here by the father and the mother combined, yin and yang. They go together. It's a circle. It's a balance. And you need both to have a whole life. You need that. That's why God made it that way. But some reason in this society, they want to cut one off and uplift the other. And this is why we have so much dysfunction. And just to add to my point, all of these sisters who complaining about how bad men are, 80% of the households are run by single moms. They're the Superman. I'm the father and the mother. They take pride in saying that. When Father Day come, they take on that. I'm the father too. I'm doing my fatherly thing. Proud to say it. But what they're never proud to say is when those kids come out jacked up, they end up in jail, they have problems. They don't want to talk about that. When 80% of children are coming out of single mother homes. And the studies have shown children coming out of these types of homes are more likely to be incarcerated, more likely to have issues in society. Behavioral problems in school. Do y'all understand that the system want our communities to be largely run by the female? That is a social construction and genocidal method? There's all ways to commit genocide. You have what you call instituted genocide, meaning where they inflicted on you, whether it physically or by the pen, or they have you do it to yourself. Well, Akeem, how do we do it to ourselves? By taking on the ideologies of the white power structure and promoting them. Here's something some of y'all sisters don't want to hear, but I'm going to say it. How many of y'all can sit down and say you never had an abortion? I know I hit low on that one. How many of y'all can say that? And I mean the type of abortion where you was using it as birth control. Not because there was some type of form of health issue or some essay or someone took advantage of you in certain words I'm not using. But how many of y'all could say y'all didn't have an abortion? Or how many y'all y'all didn't have an abortion? And it was because you just simply didn't want a child at that time. Or the father, I've heard some say, well, the father didn't want to be a father. He wasn't acting right. It's still back on him. No, it's on you because you're the one who carries this child and have to 9 months to nurture this child. So you have to choose the right guy. Be confident, but see what we're choosing is the physical pleasure of things first before we choose the wisdom of it. Lack of wisdom. Putting the pleasure, how it feels first before the priority of this act is going to be something that I'm going to have to live with for the rest of my life. And I potentially can have a child out of this. See, the Jezebels will get upset with me. See, filters are off now. We got to call spades. We got to call it like it is. Well, you don't understand it. That man shouldn't say this. No. Whatever you feel a man should be. The condition of about 80% of these households are run by women because they don't have the proper support and balance of the man in the home. That's the problem. You don't have balance. And no one's saying is one fault or the other. This is what it is. So if the male is the problem and if some of these have adopted this issue that men are the problem, but someone answered me this question. How do men get into this world? But through the womb of the mother. And she has the first contact and the first teacher of all humans that hit this planet. That's why it's crucial that we teach our young girls wisdom. This is why the state is taking over education of your children, so that you don't teach them wisdom, that you don't teach them biblical wisdom. You don't teach them whatever religion wisdom. They're the religion, they're the teacher, and they're teaching them all kind of debauchery in those schools when you're not looking. They've taken on the personality of their legal father. I keep telling y'all in poly relationships with the government when you get these birth certificates and stuff like that. It's what it is. And brothers, back to you. Why are you having children with women when you don't even have the financial stability to maintain that? Why? Because you're lusting after that woman, you impregnate her, and you can't afford it. Now she's left with no, in her mind, no other choice but to seek assistance from who else? The government. See, it's an equal problem. It's not just one problem. But I'm gonna address these complaints that this one is the problem, the women are the problem. It's equally the problem. And a lot of times it's not the problem that's the problem, it's how you handle the problem. That's the problem. Accountability. Accountability. Simple. Be accountable for your actions. So now remember, this is a book they took out. Those who honor their father will have joy in their own children, and when they pray, they will be heard. They're saying here, if you don't honor your father, your prayers won't be heard. Those who respect their father will have long life. I can say that because you can lose your life not respecting the man because he'll go for you. Something can happen. Just on a physical level, outside of the spiritual. They will serve their parents as their masters. Honor your father by word and deed. That is his blessing may come upon you. For father's blessing strengthens the houses of the children, but a mother's curse uproots their foundation. Do not glorify yourself by dishonoring your father, for your father's dishonor is no glory to you. The glory of one's father is one's own glory, and it is the disgrace for children not to respect their mother. My child, help your father in his old age, and do not aggrieve him as long as he lives. Even if his mind fails, be patient with him, because you have all your faculties. Do not despise him. But kindness to a father will not be forgotten, and will be credit to you against your sins. So it becomes a credit. So your whatever transgression, being honorable to your dad. Do you see how the system has created an opposite of what this is saying? And they took this out of the Bible. This is a book that's been removed. What's wrong with this book that they had to remove it and say shouldn't be part of the Bible? What's wrong? For kindness for a father will not be forgotten and will be credit to you against your sins. In the day of your distress, it will be remembered in your favor. Like frost in fair weather, your sins will melt away. Whoever forsakes a father is like a blasphemer. Wow. And whoever angers a mother is cursed by the Lord. This is why honoring your parents is telling you why we have problems. We got mothers who have problems with their daughters and vice versa. This is where the dysfunction is in our communities. My child, perform your task with humility. Then you will be loved by those who God accepts. The greater you are, the more you must be humble yourself. So you will find favor in the sight of the Lord. For great is the might of the Lord, but by the humble he is glorified. Neither seek what is too difficult for you, nor investigate what is beyond your power. Reflect upon what you have been commanded, and for what is hidden is not your concern. Do not meddle in matters that are not beyond you, for more than you can understand has been shown you. All right. So that's that. That's one talking about fathers. Let's talk about mothers, right? In this Sirach, remember I told you wisdom is a feminine aspect, right? That's what the in Psalms and the other books personified wisdom as a female, feminine. So here it is. It just book that they took out. It says, wisdom teaches her children and gives help to those who seek her. Whoever loves her loves life, and those who seek her from early morning are filled with joy. Whoever holds her fast inherits glory, and the Lord blesses the place she enters. Those who serve her minister to the Holy One. It says, those who serve her. The Lord loves those who love her. Those who obey her will judge the nations, and all who listen to her will live secure. If they remain faithful, they will inherit her. Their descendants will also obtain her. For at first she will walk with them on tortuous paths. She will bring fear and dread upon them and will torment them by her discipline until she trusts them, and she will test them with her ordinances. Then she will come straight back to them again and gladden them, and will reveal her secrets to them. If they go astray, she will forsake them and hand them over to their ruin. Here's another scripture that I wanted to read. It says, endeavor yourself to the congregation. I mean, here they're talking about the congregation. Bow your head low to the great. Give a hearing to the poor and return their greeting politely. Rescue the oppressed from the oppressor, and do not be hesitant in giving a verdict. Be a father to orphans and be like a husband to their mother. You will then be like a son of the Most High, and he will love you more than does your mother. So here it's talking about community. And I think that's what we lost. We're not a community anymore. We're fractured. Meaning everybody is for himself. Even within the family, we teach our children to go off, go get your own house, go create your own bills, and you pay those, and we're over here paying ours instead of everybody joining together and working as a community to pay bills. This is why we're broke, because we've been taught in this society to fracture our finances, split them off over here and go over there. We have been taught literally not to work with each other. It's very difficult to work with each other because we've been programmed not to work with each other, to distrust each other. The system has taught us not to trust each other. And through that, it has created a system of genocide, spiritual genocide, and in some cases, physical. As I was reading, both the male and the female are important. And anybody who is coming off with this ideology and looking at the other one as a threat, they're the problem. Because the real threat is that mindset. Because that mindset creates division. And anyone who's creating division in our community is an enemy to the community. And we should really re-examine our association with anyone who is not looking to bring the communities together. And that's the ones who constantly make their videos about Black women and how bad they are, which is a symptom or a reason why called reaping what you sow. What do you think is going to come back to you if you destroy one over the other? When we are all one within each other, we're all one. So if I destroy the image of a Black woman, I'm destroying myself. And if she destroys my image, she's destroying herself. Since we're all made in the image and likeness of God, and the only thing we should be seeing in each other is God. Overlook all of the other stuff and look within each other and say, I see God in you. Because God is in you. And that part, respect and revere and uplift. Uplift the good in people. Don't tear them down. But I tell you one thing, if we don't get it together, man and woman, those who cannot get on board and start working together, they're going to destroy themselves anyway. They're not going to be a part of the new world order. They're not. They're going to destroy. And this is what we're heading towards. The ones who cannot get on board with peace, the love, and the camaraderie and working together and get rid of all of the animosity and the vengeance and the violence within, they're gonna destroy themselves. Because violence only begets violence. Destruction brings more destruction. So we don't have to worry about it. Just sit back. Get your popcorn out and watch how they destroy themselves. And you can see it happening in our own community, how the ones who are very destructive end up being destroyed. Like I use Cat Williams as a small example of that. He, whether what he was saying was true, was it uplifting? Was it upbuilding? No matter if you come in some era of righteousness and right and wrong, then that means you're a judge. It's no need for me to get on these airways and talk and say something crazy about somebody, whether it's true or not. What am I profiting from that? The profit is if I destroy someone with my mouth over these airways, someone's going to come eventually to destroy me. That's what happens. So stop looking at your sons as bad, because that's what they want to happen. Because as long as we're not working together, we become the greatest resource for all the other communities. Meaning that we will take our dollars to them and give it to them to support and create legacies and keep them rich, because we can't work together. That's really what it's all about. It's all about the money. All about the money. When I talk about abortions, it wasn't to put the sisters down. It's to get you to realize that they are helping you. They're not helping. You are helping them commit genocide on your own people. That's a harsh pill to swallow. So chew it up one little bitty at a time. Don't take the whole pill. You might choke. Might be upset. That damn Hakeem, he didn't say that. Yes, I did. Look, y'all want to look up the statistics? Of this. You want to see how much genocide was committed? Like self-inflicted genocide? I know y'all don't want to say it. Don't like that word I'm using, genocide. I know it. So it's okay. Let's get this one. Now, let me just let y'all know, just to be fair, that it ain't just sisters aborting babies. You know why people doing it too? Trust me. They're doing it, but they ain't my concern. That's their problem. So in the United States, time frame 2022, 40% of black women had an abortion versus 32% white and Hispanic 21%. Then they have a breakdown of states who have the numbers here. Let me see if there's another chart. And that's why they have, family planning is not for you planning your family. It's for them planning to keep their families going while you taking away from yours. Okay? Maybe I'll talk about that on Tuesday. I'll bring the numbers because kind of I have several reports here. But anyway, that's all I have to say on that. All right, let's see what the chat's saying. Then I'm out. Health, wealth, prosperity, Lake and Apple, Bolden, said peace, facts, brainwashing at the highest level. Yes, brainwashing. Too much trauma. Absolutely. And here it is. We all suffering as a community. We all suffering from PTSD. Think about it. From the day we hit these school systems, they are constantly programming us with information against ourselves. It told you was a slave. You come from slaves. Just giving you all kind of negative and giving themselves all the positive imagery. When it was when it was vice versa. So why are we sitting here fighting amongst each other? That's the crazy part. Why are we fighting each other? See, I say this again. The problem is not the problem. It's how we go about solving the problem. We don't solve problems by degrading each other and talking about how bad the one is over the other. That doesn't fix anything. And I'm going to tell you what the true problem is this. Because we've been given this form of Christianity here in this country, we have been programmed through our own religion to see ourselves as these sinners that need fixing, that need all of this prayer. The sin is not fornication, adultery, murder, robbing, and stealing. The sin is simply this, that you don't see the God within yourself. As you don't see yourself as God sees you. And if you don't see yourself as God sees you, then all of those are just symptoms of this sin. That's what I'll be trying to say. That's the problem. Change the way you view yourself. And once you change the way you view yourself, you change the way you view yourself for the better, guess what? You'll attract better people in your lives. You'll attract better women. You'll attract better men in your lives. The reason why we have this thing where we're attracting bad people in life because we have bad thoughts. And those thoughts are attracting those types of people that align with your consciousness. That's where it all starts. Brothers, you got a bad woman in your life, that's what you attracted to your life. And once you see it, you got to remove it. When you see people acting a certain way, and you're like, wait a minute, what in me is attracting this? What about me? But once you get to a point where you recognize it, you dismiss it right away. You don't allow it to fester, because if you allow it to fester, it becomes bigger and the problems gets worse. All right, Jason. I'll look forward to that. You see, they brainwashed each other to look at each other as the problem when we ain't the problem within ourselves. We've been programmed to look at each other like this, and we've accepted the contract of that programming. It's called divide and conquer. If I'm looking at a sister as a problem and not myself, and she's looking at me as a problem and not herself, then we got a problem. And we'll never see eye to eye. We'll never work together. And that, my friend, is a classic case of genocide at its best. Because genocide can happen physically, can happen spiritually, and economically. All right. Peace, prosperity, extreme wealth to all. I'll see y'all on Tuesday.